Hello, Music 110. This is a podcast to review major triads, the Roman numerals 1, 4, and 5. If you'd like to follow along in the textbook, I'll be referring to lesson 48 on page 75. And this will go over some of the questions and topics that we went over today in class as we introduce Roman numerals. As we have seen, songs are not only built using melodies and rhythm and different instruments. Some of these instruments also play chords. So as we've discovered, we've been talking about a specific kind of chord that's called a triad. That's made up of 3 notes, and they're stacked on top of each other in thirds. The triads that we already know of course, include major, minor, diminished, and augmented. What we're adding here is not different types of triads, but a different way of thinking about how these triads work within a key. So far we've been talking about triads just as different numbers of half steps stacked on top of each other, or we count them and we figure out what the name should be, regardless really of where the chord happens in a song or in what key. Here we are beginning to think about these chords not only as sort of things that are in floating around in the musical world, but as actually things that are related to each other in the context of a key. On page 75, as you follow along here, the topic here is primary and major triads. And what we're going to do is look at the chords that are built on 3 notes of a given major scale. By built on, I mean using that one given note of the scale as the root of the chord. So you're building the chord using a given note of a scale as the root. The example that they give here is in C major, and we're going to label these chords using a Roman numeral, and that's corresponding to the scale degree of the scale degree number of the root note. By scale degree, I really just mean that we're numbering all of the notes of the scale in order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a chord in C major built on the first note would be called 1, in Roman numeral 1. The chord that's built on the 4th note of the C major scale, in this case an F, that would be the 4, F major triad. And the chord that's built on the 5th scale degree of the C major scale, it's on G, and that's a 5. So these are the 3 Roman numerals that we're going to focus on, 1, 4, and 5. Now, why are we talking about Roman numerals? Well, this way, we can talk about F major triad, for example, FAC, not only as a 4 chord in C major, but if we switch over to thinking about F major, and in fact, you can see in the exercises below, number 1, 1C and 1D, they're both in F major. You'll see that the first chord in F major is also FAC. That's the 1 chord in F major. So by using Roman numerals, we're starting to look at the relationships between different scales and how they use these chords. And that, more importantly, you can see an instance of a chord, in this case F major triad, FAC, as functioning different ways in different scales. So the F major triad FAC is a 4 chord in C major, but it's a 1 chord in F major. Okay. To review here, the most important thing I'd like you to take away from is being able to label a given triad with a Roman numeral. And here you need to first figure out the key, figure out the root note and which scale degree that root is. So that's which number of the which number note it is in the scale. It will be just 1, 4, or 5 at this moment. And then that's it. Because 1, 4, and 5, the chords built on 1, 4, and 5 will always be a major triad. Okay, so you just label it with the Roman numeral. On the flip side, I'll also ask you to write the triad with a given Roman numeral and key signature. And this process here is essentially the reverse, and it's very simple. So in exercises part 2 here, and also you can do similar exercises on musician. What you're doing here is finding the root note by counting up from 1. So first you determine the key, in this case 2A here, the key is D major with 2 sharps. For the 1 chord, it would be the triad built on D, so you're just writing a D major triad. For the 4 chord, it'll be the triad built on the 4th scale degree D major, and you count up D, E, F sharp, G, so it will be a triad built on G, a G major triad. The 5 chord, for D major, again, you would just count up to 5 from D, D, E, F sharp, G, A, and it would be the triad built on A, the A major triad. And that's it. Okay, please review this information and also have a practice on musician and have fun practicing.